Well, can't say I'm incredibly shocked. I know that I was optimistic about Horn Player. I warmed her up. She felt really lethargic tonight, and I know why. We had taken her blood the other day. Her liver count was up. Now, I need everybody to understand. I'm going to unpack the entire situation for Horn Player. So Horn Player is a big, powerful, strong filly, and she does interfere a little bit behind. She always has. She's always had that kind of, it almost looks like she's got rubber boots on behind. And as she grows up and fills out to be a bigger, stronger mare, that will dissipate. And you didn't see much of it. When Sylvain drove her, he said, I almost lost her leaving, but after that, she was safe. Very strong, get over the half quick. So she was really up in the iron. And tonight you saw what happened, right? She fell off the gate. Didn't really want any part of racing. Actually gapped a bit down the backstretch, and that was the only time I asked her to catch up. And it took her all the way to the last turn to, I could hear her chewing at herself a little bit, and then she rolled off. She didn't really want any part of racing. And that's what the liver counts can do sometimes. And I'm sorry, I can't articulate it well enough. It is not her liver. It's not her liver. Something happens the last 3 years for a number of stables, and ours included. And this is all over the world. I mean, I've talked to Darren McCall, and he's had horses in Australia where their GGTs jumped. I don't know how to break it down, and please don't send me the literature on it. I'm going to defer to the vet. I have enough information rattling around in my head. A lot of it I don't need. And some of it I do, that it really just won't be absorbed. I have it somewhere where I've looked it up. If the vets can't tell me, if people that are much smarter than me and spent a good portion of their life in school can't tell me exactly what is going on and what this GGT level actually means, then I doubt I will. And I don't want to sound defeatist. You can fix it, but it takes time. And sometimes some of the horses will push through it. They'll almost learn to go with it, I guess. Or it dissipates, that level. So when we draw the blood work on the horses, you get a big long printout, big long sheet. You get the white count, the red count, the muscle count, the AST, a bunch of breakdowns from lymphocytes and monocytes. You have it all. And the normal things as a trainer that you look for is the AST. We talk about the muscle counts on the horses. The white count, you want to see that below 8, 9, down below 6 and 7 would be great. You don't want it too low. You just want it in the meat of the order, the middle of the order. Red counts, you don't want them too low, but you don't need them too high also. And so on and so forth. Well, one of these levels, a bilirubin is usually an indicator of horse could bleed a little bit. It might have a bleeding ulcer. Horse might be a bleeder. So just levels that are indicators of things that you can work on. And when this GGT level jumps, and it's usually attributed to the liver, when it jumps, a lot of the horses, in fact, almost all of them can't function. Now, the levels on the blood work that we have taken are on a scale from 0 to 70. And Horn Player was 87 last week. We ran a lot of fluids through her. We ran liver medication through her. And I knew she couldn't be fixed in 3 days. But I was hoping, we could take the edge off. It would start to filter out a little better. I don't know. I'm hoping that it would be better. She jogged good. She looked good all week. In fact, she didn't warm up that bad. But as she's coming off the track, she's kind of hanging her head. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, usually she fights with you and she wants to get right at it. Tonight, she was kind of blah, which is indicative of this count. So as we fall off the gate, I know long before, she feels like she's trotting okay. But here's the problem. When she's strong and right up on the iron, her gait is a little bit different. It's got a little more pop, a little more power to it. And when she's lethargic and quiet, it's a little more dopey, a little more floppy. And where she might just pick at herself, now she's slapped into her shin a little bit or touched on that cornet band behind. Just got out of gear. And as the race continues on further and further and further, she gets a little more tired. The little picks that we saw before now are a little harder. Maybe they're stinging her a little bit. She said, that's enough. No more for me. And she made a break. That wasn't as much interference as it was, I've just had enough. So we really do have to work on that GGT level. We know how we can get it down. It just takes time. And this isn't just, we've just seen these in the last 3 years. No, these have come forever. And I don't know what causes them, but I know as soon as the warm weather got here is when we started seeing them. Megan with Sister Solange in New York, it was high. The Sassy Fillies was high. She's a Sassy Beach, so I'm thinking maybe it's just because they're coming into heat or something. I don't know. And then we had 2 geldings, I think, in Ohio. We had Horn Player here, and we had one other horse here also. All I can tell you is that mechanically, she might need a little vet work done. Maybe she, we'll take her over to the vet. Maybe she needs her knees done and her hocks done. She has to requalify now. This is not what we wanted to see happen with Horn Player when we had such a great start to the season. But these are horses. I can tell you what is going on. I can tell you we're addressing it. We're trying our best to fix it. And I hope we can not only resolve it now, but actually stave it off the rest of the year by keeping her on the milk thistle and the liver medication that we use full time. But for a filly that I'm making arrangements to get her to New Jersey after that 57 win. Now I'm saying, geez, we got to requalify her, and this doesn't look good. And I know I get messages from Randy and a lot of our clients and my partners that own the filly. What are we doing with her? What's going on with her? Geez, she looked terrible last week. I am well aware. I see all these things. It's certainly not lost on me that Horn Player did not look good last week. But this is the game we have. We talked about it Monday and Tuesday. We had such terrible news. Wednesday and up until tonight, race 4, I guess, in particular, we're having a great week. Our great last 72 hours. And this wasn't bad luck. This was, geez, I hope she can push through. I'd like to see her, get along. I'm hoping when Trevor pulled, I'm going to be third over. I think it was Trevor. I'm going to be third over. Maybe she got a little pop and we can let her loaf down the lane. She get up for a second or third, fourth. I knew we were going plenty. I'd like to see her come back to where she went her first start, 57 and a piece. It just didn't work out that way. I don't think there's any shoeing changes that need to be done. There may need to be some vet work done, but nothing major from what I can see. The only thing we have to work on is getting that GGT under control, making sure that she's up on the iron, she's sharp, she's feeling good, making sure she's strong and has all the power that she needs. And that is where we are and where we need to be with Horn Player. So that is the entire situation with Horn Player unpacked for you. Now, when it came to Landing Pad, not a great horse. I thought he was going to be a decent horse. I thought he would come around, and he's got the will. He wants to be a better horse. I said to James after, I said, he's much like you are when it comes to singing, James. When you have enough to drink, you think you can sing. And if you're around a group of other drunkards, other people that are intoxicated, you might actually sound okay. Much like Landing Pad would look really good at Monticello or Freehold right now. Very, very similar. He wants to be a good horse. He just isn't right now. He looks like a horse that'll be an okay 4 and 5 year old. Landing Pad will race. We're going to pick up a program somewhere or look at him online as an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old racing. But I think he's come to the end of the line with us. There's nothing I can tell you. You guys know. You saw Landing Pad try and race last year. It was a watered down, hotter, more immature version of what you just saw. That was a focused Landing Pad trying his best to race, just not very good at it. And we can only bring them so far. I had the conversation with one of my partners the other day about, oh my gosh, his gait's better, he looks better, but he's slow. We just qualified What a Mission in 56 and 2. Him and a number of other maidens are coming out of the woodwork. And oh my gosh, just isn't quite good enough yet. Oh my gosh, would be a great horse for somebody in Indiana that just wants to go down to the track and race their horse. And he'll get better and better and better as he gets stronger. But he's not a stake horse. He's not going to be a very effective horse in the short term. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't dislike any of the horses I've talked about today. I don't dislike Landing Pad because he's not quite good enough. I don't dislike Horn Player because her GGT is high. I don't dislike her. We all know she's a talented filly. I don't even dislike Oh My Gosh. He raced okay the other night. He's just not a very good horse. So we have a filly's blood work we have to work on. And we have 2 horses that are probably going to leave. Now, come Monday, there's a sale on Preferred. Oh My Gosh is going in it. Landing Pad is going to go in it. And I talked to a number of people today, and the voice of reason came from a place it always does. And I was having a conversation, and someone said, "Hey, just so you know, Leaps and Bounds made a little break leaving. You're talking about maybe doing vet work on her. The bar hopping filly that's well bred on April the 13th in the middle of breeding season. Sister Solange, pretty good bred filly in the middle of staking season, in the middle of staking season, but in the middle of breeding season. Two pretty good fillies, both with stake wins at 2. One in a pop-up series, but it was a stake, and the other one in the Stallion series. Both took 2-year-old marks at 58, made a little money, and both are well bred. Just think about that, because I didn't think of it that way. I should have. It was right there. It was right on the periphery. It was right here. I should be thinking about that, and I didn't. I know that Leaps and Bounds is a better horse than that. I know she'll trot 56, 57. And I also know that would make her an okay Stallion Series filly. Sister Solange is struggling. Her GGT is high. She was in heat. And she tied up when she first got down there, I believe. Trotted in like 2-1 last week. I know she'll trot 57, 58. But again, what's that make her? An okay Stallion Series filly. A horse that you just bring to the track. Now, factor in the economics of those two fillies in particular. Both should bring $28,000 to $35,000 right now for the breeding and for people that want to race them. You want to race them? Go ahead. Both fillies. One filly shows winning a Stallion Series in 58. The other filly shows trotting in 56 and winning in 58 also. Both have had talent. Not right this second, but have had talent, and their worth will be held because they are both well bred. The Doodle All Day family line is really good on Sister Solange, and the other filly's entire pedigree is strong. So, I think what you're going to see when you open up Preferred tomorrow, you're going to see, oh my gosh, you're going to see Landing Pad. You're going to see Sister Solange. You're going to see Leaps and Bounds. Because at the end of the day, when I step back and look at our stable, we have an incredibly good bunch of horses. And the horses that just aren't quite good enough take up just as much time, cost just as much money. And at the end of the day, I think I wouldn't call them liabilities because we could find a spot to race them. But they're not really going to do us a lot of good. And I think the path that we're on with the two fillies in particular, Sister Solange and Leaps and Bounds, if I'm right and they're worth that kind of money, factor in all the bills and stake payments we have to make, starting fees we have to make between now and October when we would look to sell them. Take a look historically at what horses like them have earned for us throughout the summer. And then ask yourself the same question I asked myself in the 90 East heading home going through Buffalo. What should we do on April the 14th? Enter the fillies in the sale? Because we can always just say, no, well, we know what they're worth. They're not worth less than $20,000. Wouldn't take that for them. All of them should be worth okay money because they'll race. They're racing right now. Not really what we're looking for, though. There's nothing wrong with that. None of the horses I talked about today I'm angry at for any particular reason. Not one. But we are gearing up for what we hope is a banner and a very big summer for the stable.ca. And these 4 horses, not really good enough. So, with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you had a good night. I know for my partners on Horn Player, I know it sucks, guys. I get it. I understand it. But we are going to have to get the filly healthy and squared away. For my partners on the other horses I mentioned, you know this. I haven't been coy about talking about these horses. Maybe the 2 fillies, and there's another one. For every what a mission that surprised the hell out of me at the qualifiers today, you're going to have a Leaps and Bounds that kind of let me down. We could get her better, but what's she going to be at her best? And that's really what it boils down to. So I didn't have a horrible day. I'm going to focus on the great part of today, which was this morning. I'm going to give Horn Player a pass because she deserves it. And I'm going to focus at the business at hand. Focusing on the stable, rounding it into shape, looking at what we're doing. I'm about to send out an email about 2 horses. We talk about horses we're looking to sell. There are 2 horses selling this weekend that we are looking to buy also. So not all is lost. We're going to try and swap out 4 ineffective horses for 2 what appears to be very effective horses. So watch for that email. It'll be coming out only to our stable clients tonight. And for everybody else, chin up. New day tomorrow. Brace for Landing cut his eyelid this week. It's nothing serious. It's not the eye, it's the eyelid. And he's likely, I'm actually stopping at the barn on the way home to check him out. He's actually a scratch probably for tomorrow, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. He doesn't have a race till I've unpacked what we're doing with Brace for Landing. His first stake race is June the 6th here in Ontario in the Good Times. Train great. We're going to take the weekend. He's eating good, Amy said, so he's in good spirits. It's just a little cut right on his eyelid. They had to stitch it. It's fine. But I just don't think he needs to qualify tomorrow. So we'll qualify him next Friday. Crantini, Spitfire Overseas, Carter Michael Dio are all schooling tomorrow. Warwee Yuri is qualifying tomorrow. I'm missing one horse that's qualifying also. A full day at the qualifiers. Lots of work here. And for those of you in the area that are wondering, hey, when are the babies training again? Saturday. Tomorrow, just too much going on with the qualifiers. James asked us to move them to Saturday. I'm going to be here, so there's no problem doing it. We are going to train all the horses, all the babies, on Saturday, and some of the 3-year-olds too. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I'll talk to you tomorrow after the qualifiers and the schoolers. As I said, for my partners with Horn Player, chin up. She'll come back around. There's nothing seriously wrong with her. We'll square her soon enough. Take care, everybody.